Marlon and Paddy Dingle turn to a surprising method to release their tension in upcoming scenes, as both struggle under growing pressure. Despite their usually calm personalities, they end up channeling their emotions by wrecking Celia Daniels' former farm. In a special episode focused on the duo, Paddy becomes increasingly anxious about what lies ahead after confessing his involvement in Ray Walters' death. When a letter arrives confirming the court date for him and Dylan Penders, his worries intensify, pushing him to seek comfort from his closest friend. Mark Charnock explained that Marlon first suggests playing a zombie-themed video game to distract Paddy, but while Marlon enjoys it, the idea fails to calm Paddy's nerves. Instead, Marlon comes up with a more physical way to cope. He proposes they head over to Ray and Celia's place and take out their frustrations by smashing things. Armed with sledgehammers, the two set off to release their anger. According to the actor, the property had already been left in chaos by police during their investigation. What remained inside was mostly debris, piles of damaged furniture in a locked building. Initially annoyed at not being able to get inside, they soon spot other things they can destroy and decide to go ahead anyway. During filming, both actors used actual sledgehammers, taking care to avoid accidents. They rehearsed the sequence, planned their movements carefully, and selected which objects to break for maximum visual impact before going all in. While the destruction gives Paddy a much-needed emotional release, Marlon is also deeply affected. After everything his family has endured at the hands of the villains, he finds the act unexpectedly therapeutic. At one point, Marlon is overwhelmed by his emotions. All the pain and helplessness he felt during April's ordeal resurfaces, along with the guilt of not being able to do more at the time. He eventually focuses his anger on the kitchen table, seeing it as the center of Ray and Celia's operations, a place where they may have planned the harm they caused to others. As his emotions spiral, Marlon completely loses control, forcing Paddy to step in and calm him down. The question remains whether their destructive outburst will lead to serious consequences. Paddy faces a heartbreaking farewell in Emmerdale, as everything begins to catch up with him. For a long time, he has been struggling to keep the secret that he played a role in hiding the truth about Ray Walters' death, all while trying to shield his father from a murder charge. But the pressure finally becomes too much for the overwhelmed vet. The situation starts to fall apart when DS Walsh notices a piece of rope inside the surgery. She discreetly photographs it and later confronts Paddy, revealing she believes it matches the rope used to bind Ray. Paddy insists that this type of rope is commonly used by vets, but the coincidence raises suspicion, especially given his connection to the case. At the same time, he's been attempting to support his increasingly vulnerable father, Bear Wolf, who violated his bail conditions after attacking Jacob Gallagher in hospital and disappearing. To prevent him from being placed in custody, Paddy admits him to a mental health unit. However, DS Walsh warns that if Bear shows any signs of recovery, he'll be taken straight to prison, adding to Paddy's growing anxiety. During another round of questioning, Bear is caught off guard when DS Walsh changes her tactic, suggesting that his wrestling background means he knew exactly how to overpower Ray. Under intense pressure, Bear snaps and falsely claims he acted alone and deliberately killed him. While this protects others for now, it only deepens the crisis. Dominic Brunt shared that Paddy feels everything is collapsing around him, believing they're all destined for prison regardless of what they do next. In his mind, the damage has already been done, after so many lies. Now facing the possibility of a life sentence for his father, Paddy is consumed with guilt. He reflects on the ordeal Bear endured, being held captive for months and suffering horrific abuse at the hands of Ray and Celia. Determined to put things right, Paddy decides to confess his own involvement. Dylan Penders stands firmly beside him, promising to face the consequences together. Meanwhile, Mandy Dingle is devastated, but urges them to tell the truth, believing it's their only path forward, despite her fear of losing the family they've built. With no other option, Paddy and Dylan make their way to the police station. Mandy is left with no choice but to say an emotional goodbye, fearing the worst. However, their decision doesn't bring relief. Instead, matters take a serious turn when they're informed they will be charged with perverting the course of justice. Facing potential prison sentences themselves, they scramble to find a way out of the situation. Their only hope lies in proving that Ray had intentions to kill Dylan, which could shift the case in their favor. They turn to Laurel Thomas, who was the last person to see Ray before he went to confront Paddy and Bear. There's a suggestion that Ray may have revealed his plans to her, meaning her testimony could be crucial. But with no direct evidence, and Laurel having not witnessed anything firsthand, they're left with a difficult question. Should they ask her to bend the truth to help Bear? And what happens if she refuses? Emmerdale showed Tracy Robinson's departure in an emotional episode as she set off to begin a new chapter away from the village. After receiving an unexpected job opportunity from her sister Kara, Tracy made the difficult decision to leave, saying farewell to those closest to her before heading off with her daughter Frankie. The touching scenes also coincide with a happy moment in real life, as the actor who plays Tracy has recently stepped away on maternity leave after welcoming her second child. The storyline provided a fitting send-off, allowing the character to take a break from the drama of the Dales. In the episode, Tracy was seen gathering the final pieces of her belongings, preparing to leave everything behind. Vanessa Woodfield watched the process with clear sadness, struggling to accept that Tracy was really going. Tracy admitted that too many painful memories had built up over time, making it impossible for her to stay. She explained that she needed space and a chance to heal somewhere new. Vanessa expressed her understanding, even though she found it hard to let her go. She wished Tracy nothing but happiness for the future, while quietly admitting that she would rather have her stay. The moment highlighted the deep bond between them, making the goodbye even more emotional. As Tracy stood outside, surrounded by moving boxes, Eric Pollard approached to offer his well wishes. He encouraged her as she prepared to begin a fresh journey, showing kindness and support during her departure. Tracy, however, couldn't help but notice that Kane was nowhere to be seen, joking that Eric seemed more concerned than Frankie's own grandfather. At that point, Tracy was unaware that Kane and the rest of the Dingle family were caught up in a tense conflict elsewhere. They had been dealing with another clash involving the Tate family after Holly Barton's memorial had been destroyed, leaving emotions running high. When Kane eventually arrived to say goodbye, he was devastated to realize that Tracy and Frankie had already left. Fortunately, Belle stepped in and explained everything, prompting Tracy to wait a little longer so Kane could have a proper farewell with his granddaughter. Their reunion was filled with emotion as Kane reassured Tracy that she was making the right decision. He told her that Nate would be proud of her strength and courage, offering words of comfort during the difficult moment. Kane also promised that he would visit them once he had recovered from an upcoming operation. The goodbye ended with a heartfelt embrace, as they all shared a tearful moment together. With nothing left to hold her back, Tracy finally left the village with Frankie, ready to start over and build a new life away from the past.